Sophia. All right. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. Apparently, I'm taking over American Salon. It's American Salon takeover. This morning when Randy told me, I actually thought American Salon was taking over the Sassoon Academy, but it's the other way around. So here we go. What I'm going to do is, in the interest of time, I've worked pre-cut half the haircut. And it's going to be a little, what we're calling a micro bob, a very short little box bob on one of my favorite models, Sophia. Just working off really the cheekbones. I'm going to cut the second half for you now. And it's short and a little shape that I've been working on with Sophia. She's been growing out from a very short little crop. And the last few times we spoke about growing it into a longer shape. So we decided to bring it together in the way of a line, which I think works really well on Sophia. So I'm going to start out with just slightly horizontal diagonal sections. Just a nice finger's length pulling the hair right out from the head. A little bit tricky to do half and half. I think I'll get it together for you guys.
Gordon just joined. Martina says hello.
Hi, Gordon. You tell Gordon I just got off the phone with Tony Beckerman, and he said to give Gordon a pinch. I can't do that, but I'll say hello to you, Gordon. Okay, so yeah, we're here at the Academy where I'm based, and working with some of the team, prepping to do a photo shoot. We have our courses running downstairs. There's always something amazing going on. I think that's why, probably one of the reasons why I've never left. I've been in the Academy now for 20-odd years, and it's such a great place to be as a teacher or as a student at any level. I think as a model too, huh, Sophia?
You're getting so many hellos. Michelle, Donald, Amy Gallagher.
Yay.
From Scotland.
Around
Michelle
the world.
Barnes from
Amazing.
Scotland.
Amazing. Isn't it late there? Somebody up late? Okay, so nice clean sections is the key. It's hard with this really freshly bleached short hair to work cleanly, but it's so important. So I just kind of get my hand in there, and then I just lift that out with the comb, and then you just get your fingers back in. I'm picking up a little bit of the first side from the center, which is important so you don't have that disjointed feel that you're going to have to work out later with your scissor or comb. It's one of my favorite balances, I think, in proportions, is a box bob. It's so powerful and strong, and I think also so technical. I mean, it's taken me so many years to kind of feel like I have a good grasp of it. And I still constantly practice doing it better and better every time. And the nuances of it, which I think is interesting too. Especially in a teaching aspect. When you want to teach someone how to do something, I think there's definite specific things that you share with them. So sectioning, clean, small, good control of the hair, elevating the hair up, and layering really close to the head until I get to the point where I'm going to graduate, and then I'll start drawing the hair down and in. Open for questions,
That's
too.
350 people in this room. No questions
Wow,
yet.
no wonder it's so hot.
Michelle Donald said this is not easy to cut, but fun.
Am I making it look at not easy, or am I making it look at easy? Can't speak now. It is nice to cut. I mean, it's one of those things you just need that total focus. So it is a little trickier to have it when you're
what are some of
over my shoulder.
the tips you have for cutting hair that short between your fingers?
Clean sections for sure. I think that's great. You know, some tips for working very clean with hair this short.
Michelle's asking if this is suitable for fine hair.
Yeah, this is fine hair actually. There's a lot of it, but individually it's quite fine hair. And yeah, because you take this, sits really close, head hugging, makes for a beautifully long neck. And then you build up the density to the hair once you get up into the line. So it works great on fine hair.
Is this best on straight hair? Thank you, Amanda.
Amanda. Yeah, good question. I think it's most suitable and easiest to do and have the right look, the most suitable look on straighter hair, finer hair that lays flat to the head. That's going to be our easiest scenario to cut it in. But it could look quite dramatic on textured hair as well, because as you imagine, the hair would really thatch out and away from the head shape in a really beautiful way. So I've never excluded texture from anything, I don't think. But I think when you're first learning something, you should learn it on the ideal texture. So you don't start with the problems.
She said thank you. And you got a hello
Thanks for
from
asking.
Florence, Italy, Donatella Guido.
Oh. Ciao, I think is what I should be saying. Okay, so this is the point where you really want to start thinking about bringing the hair a little bit down. So how you comb it is important. So I'll lift up from underneath and then just comb it back and set it into the fingers. And that just starts building up that little weight line in there. Think about where you're heading towards in the face. You know, like I said before, it's the cheekbones. So though the head's very down for you guys to see, when I'm coming into here, I need to really look to see where I'm going with my fingers, so that I hit the right spot. And I have balance to the other side, which has been cut already, and I'm happy with. So you can start seeing the line build up a little bit. An important thing with this too is to check across the other side. So I'll just take that center section, I lift the head straight up. We're just going to check across the middle, make sure there's no little shift.
So I know you're going to get a lot of questions about this, but it would not be your preference to cut one side, right? First.
I would, if I was doing it on my own, I would probably work one side to where the weight sits, and then the other side to that same point.
Okay.
And then, once the weight's in, you can follow all the way through. So it would be about this point. I'd cut to this point, do the same on the other side, and then you've set that weight in, and then it's really easy to go from there. I'll be fiddling a little bit to get the balance, because the whole other side is cut right now. So you have to section it through, and you have to see the two sides together. And the other thing is this side was slightly scissor combed already, just because we got a little excited about what we were doing, so we kept going. So it's harder to make that balance.
Okay, so Mike Watson asked, are you holding the hair at 90-degree angle until you reach the top of the ear, and then after that 45?
That's a great question. It's 90 degrees, so you just get the hair short to the head, fingers length in a comfortable manner. It doesn't go right to 45. It slowly becomes more and more, or it slowly becomes lower and lower in its elevation. I try not to put the numbers to it too much, but eventually it becomes a bob. So at that point, there won't be, any elevation to it, except for even my fingers kind of fit in the cup of the head. So I try very carefully to just hold that hair right where it lives. And then you get that line. So you kind of go from nothing and gradually into the line.
Great.
Good question.
Okay, so Daniel Diaz is asking if you have any tips for big girls with almost no neck and high density frizzy hair. Anything
That's
that will
a
help
lot.
lengthen the neck and
Well, I mean, that's what you have to think about. It could go both ways. Wider neck, take the hair away. I think when I talk about suitability, and when I'm here in the academy and we do a suitability lecture, or I talk to a student about suitability, I start with a blanket statement, which classic beauty is balance. And I think if you start with that, that's a good point to reference. So in the case of the question, if it's a really narrow neck, you'd want to actually leave weight on it. And if it's a really wider neck, then you take it away. So this could work really beautiful. Where you plant the weight and the edge of the line also has to be balanced as well. So not just where you take away, but where you build it up. So where they would be wider isn't necessarily where you want to leave that, if that makes sense. So it's just a game of proportion and balance, balancing out the bone structure and also balancing out the facial features. So I think in the beginning we learn the head's round and it's one thing, and then the more and more experience you get, you have this area, you have this area, you have that area, and you break it up. And it's the same with the face shape.
We have a question from Kate Critchlow. Would it not be easier to shave the nape of the head?
Yeah, but we don't always do things the easier way. Not for me anyway. I don't know. I don't know if it's easier. I mean, there's a couple ways you can do this. Some people really love to do this as an undercut. As soon, if there's anything, you know, I think it's about precision cut, and if we could do it in the fingers, you're going to get your shape in the fingers first. And I think it's more, I mean, handcrafted is the word, really. Your hands have a feeling to them that you can't get out of a clipper. It's a machine. If you want to take hair off and you want to take it off quickly, yeah, and obviously, yeah, clippers are a great way of doing that. This is an undercut. This is cut from a layer into a really heavy graduation. And it's a beautiful way to cut hair. Once you kind of get the hang of it, it's not any harder than doing anything else. Does that answer, hopefully in a nice way? I think the word I use a lot is efficient. I think when you're working in the salon, instead of making things easier, it's really important to be efficient with your time and use good time management. And the way to achieve that in a precise haircut, a really well-cut haircut, is to have your plan and a system in place and not backtrack and cut things 2 or 3 times. And that's really the key to making things, let's say, easier. So you section clean, comb the hair into place, cut once.
At what point do you start thinking about the corners of the shape?
That's a good one. Right now, actually, right? So this is a squarer shape, and I think what's really important in doing this is to realize, you know, especially on Sophia's head, she has a beautiful head shape, really curved, great occipital bone. But also in saying that, if you just follow that, you're going to get either that or you'll get that. And most people that I've trained to start in the early stages of doing a box bob usually get that, like a graduated bob where it comes down at the ear. But if you think to get a really square shape, you need to fill in the rounds of the head. So you'd kind of build a corner somewhat here, where the head curves in, and then you'd come back this way. So you actually have a corner of weight in the line, just like you would if you've learned a basic layer in the air. That same thing applies to here. So I'll show you when I get it in my fingers. So working. So if you notice my fingers aren't following the head shape, I've come off the head shape here, and I'm working this line as if I'm doing like to infinitum. It's just going to continue out this way. And then I position myself on the shoulder, and then I'll come out this way. And that will leave a little bit of length there, opposed to this, this, and this. Yep.
How important is body posture when cutting hair?
Super important is body position for balance, for getting both sides the same, getting the hair to do what you want it to do. And another thing which is really important, I think, is for ourselves, doing what we do for long periods of time, every day, in and out. If your body position is good, you don't feel as tired at the end of the day. You'd be mentally tired, I think, from your conversations with your clients and things like that. But I think body-wise, you'll feel much stronger. So what I mean by that, I think, is just having good body position, natural body position, good posture. So really using the hydraulics of the chair or in your knees and not bending at the back, which a lot of hairdressers do. So really kind of going up and down. So it's really super important for balance and equally important for ourselves to have long-term careers and good postures at the end of it all.
Martina says thank you for the comb tip. Very helpful.
Yeah, it was enlightening. When I figured that out, I was like, I got this. I could do a box bob now.
And we have Carolyn Lamb was saying when you're cutting, do you put product in the hair?
Typically, no. Water, consistency is really key with having the hair evenly damp when you're cutting hair in a very precise manner for control purposes. I have a little bit of product in today, and that's more for just time management for this Facebook Live. So I can get a nice little half a haircut in and not have a big blow dry for you guys. So I've just prepped it for that. Okay, so there's our little shape. You can almost see that corner in there, right? And that's important. When you comb the hair in and it sits there, you don't see it, but you also don't see the line come up at the back. Hopefully. I don't know, Randy, what you see. Use your mirror. That's a great thing. So the square is just the same equal proportion from there to there. So I'm happy with that. All right. So you just continue on from here now. Gentler with your
Carrie Ann
touch.
de Blasio, sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
Beautiful color. Is that her natural?
She's naturally soft pink. No, this is a fantastic color by our color director, Lucas. And he's going to come up, give us a formula. We have a formula written on the board, but he's also going to come up and talk about it. He did a bleaching tone this morning, and not really sure exactly what he mixed up for the toner, but it is beautiful. He is a genius with color, I think, if anybody's ever... And he's a genius about talking about color as well. He's an amazing teacher based here in the academy. So if you see that kind of continuing out, that's kind of the key to this, opposed to coming down and in. I think. In my hands it is, anyway.
What brand color is it?
Wella. Wella. At all our Sassoon academies and salons in North America, we use Wella color.
Are these micro bobs popular for 2017?
I think it's a timeless look, really. I think it's an absolute timeless look.
Katie DeLuca says you're making me want to come back to Sassoon. I love Sassoon education.
Yay! That's what it's about, really, isn't it? It's ongoing. I never left. Like I said, I came 20 years ago, I never left. Yeah, I think you can never have a time in your life that you don't learn something new. And with hair, you know, I think there is definite principles to cutting hair that stay the same and remain the same. But I think our experience level changes. So every time you come back here with a different experience level, you absolutely learn the same thing at a higher learning level, if that makes sense. And that to me is so exciting because you can get better and better and better at doing the same thing. One of the teachers here, we were talking about it, he said, it's not about practice makes perfect, but practicing perfectly. And I love that saying, practicing perfectly. It's Randall.
Using a lot or a little attention?
A lot. I use a lot of attention.
Thank you for the question.
Thanks, Tina. I use a lot of tension. You don't have to, but in graduating, I know that if I use the tension, I'm going to get the edge to bevel, which is going to give it more of a modern feel. I think now silhouettes have a bevel to them. So you just have to be careful, obviously, with the tension, that you don't use it wrongly in the wrong places. So in the crown, I'm a little looser here, because this is where the hair moves around and swirls. Most people will take this hair, comb it back here, and cut it here, and then it kind of moves over there, and you get something else. So I really watch the roots of the hair, and I cut it really where it lives, and as I work up to the crown, I hold it gentler and gentler.
How big are your sections?
Small enough to see through the guide. So it depends on the hair, how big the sections are, depends on the hair, the texture of the hair, transparency, density, I guess, of the hair. So what I want is when I'm cutting, that I can see through the hair. I'm kind of running out now, but so this is a minuscule example, but you want to see through it like trace paper. What I see a lot of people do, just from teaching the things I say, lift hair up to see what's there. And that's another movement. So I'd rather just see it through, cut it, and I'm done. I don't have to cut it again. It's done. It's clean. There's no doubt it was on the guide, and we're good to go. Allison's put up a little head sheet too. I think head sheets are cool because it lets you draw it or map it out and talk about, you know, this is Allison. Say hi, Al. Again, it's about being efficient, knowing your plan before you start it, so you can get from, you know, get to your end result with the best possible technique. So I'm just running out through the top and just section it off, tie in whatever ties into the line. Anything that falls over, you check in. And the crown's the tricky part. So you can see there's a lot of movement in the crown. And that swirl. So that's really where tension has to kind of let up. You can even, some people I know would let that dry and cut it in dry. Which is helpful.
Daniel Passer.
Daniel, I wrote him a little message last night. Did he get it?
I don't know. Daniel, did you get the message?
He's typing away now.
Katie says it looks amazing on the model with her color.
So good with this color, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Katie. Maybe we should get Lucas to come up. Maybe
they're asking for your Instagram and also, oh, Daniel said yes, thank you. They're asking for your Instagram and Sassoon's.
Yeah, we have it. We have it written on the board, don't we?
Yeah.
Mine is Traci Sak_hair. If you don't do the hair part, you're going to get my son, Charlie, who's lovely, but has nothing to do with hair. Oh, he has cool hair. So Traci Sak Hair. And obviously you can find what the whole of the team internationally is doing always on Sassoon Academy Official.
And Lucy says, she is so beautiful, love the haircut.
Hi, Lucy. Here he comes.
Where is Sassoon? Casey Spence is asking.
Where's Sassoon? Where we're live today is in Santa Monica. So this is the Sassoon Academy in Santa Monica, California. But you can also find us in other locations. We have an amazing school and team in Toronto. And we have 2-day courses that we run out of New York, Boston, and Atlanta, which are really great for refreshers. And we're also in Chicago. We have an amazing teacher, Travis, who's recently done a Facebook Live, I think, as well for American. And Seattle, San Francisco. Yeah, that's where we are. We're easily accessible these days, which is amazing.
You can see it, too.
And yeah, well, soon, in a couple of weeks, myself, the whole of the team, and Mark Hayes will be at ISSE on the main stage doing a classroom. We'll be joining Hairbrained at the teach-ins. So we've got some good stuff to come. It's kind of always going on here, so I kind of forget to talk about. So there we go.
Is there any plans to bring Sassoon Academy to South America?
I can come anytime. Who asked that?
That was Daniel Diaz.
I would love to. Where in South America is Daniel?
And Michael Haas says hello.
Hi, Michael. I'll be seeing him next week. I think in Woodland Hills at Wella.
And Robin Laughlin says she can't wait to see this style, so we will post a finished picture for sure.
Yeah, we're going to post it. Okay, so this is a tricky little thing that I like to do to just make this kind of look now, and not such a historically heritage kind of box bob. I think the silhouettes to things now are much more lean and have dynamics internally. So there's some layering, but the layering isn't through the top. On this, I really want to layer through the edge and the underneath. And it's kind of something that I do now on all my bobs. So if you just section from the high point of the brow or the center of the eye back, high on the head, pretty high on the head. Comb the hair back, let it just break in that area, get the top out of your way. It's really nice to do this on the hair dry, but right now this is where we're at, so I'll do it wet. And it's from the mastoid forward. You just kind of can section that. I'm going to lift that up and just layer the little edge off the line. It's not a lot of hair that goes, but it means a lot. And it creates a little bit of a separation between the hair that falls over it. Lucas, is that you there?
Yes, it is.
Come on in. You're getting lots of compliments on this beautiful color. This is Lucas, everyone. And Lucas did Sophia's color this morning. I've let them know that it was Wella that we used, but you can kind of get into the specifics, Lucas.
Yeah, so a classic bleach and tone. So 6-week outgrowth, level 7 natural. Went with Blondor powder, 20 volume. Mixing ratio 1 to 1.5 with the developer. And it was about 45 minutes. And didn't pull through the ends, just lifted the roots up to pale level 10. And then toned with the formulation of 40 grams 1016, which is an ash violet. 10 grams of 916, so a little bit deeper, ash violet. 5 grams of 55, which is a level 5 red violet. And then 5 grams of 9/7, which is a level 9 brunette. And that was with 10 volume, mixing ratio 1 to 1, so equal parts. Did the roots.
Lots of I love it, I love it, I love it.
Oh. Did the roots for 10 minutes and then went right back through and pulled it through the ends and then let it sit for half an hour.
What is the trick to your bleaches being, because the hair feels, it doesn't feel like bleached hair at all. It feels beautiful. So.
Deciding, of course, the product you're using. So using a powder, but mixing ratio 1 to 1.5. And then developer always with us, 20 volume. Nothing a little higher because then it does compromise the hair a little bit. And then deciding toners, again using 10 volume. There's many products you can use. You can use Color Touch, which is demi-permanent. You can use Lumina, which is a permanent hair color from Wella. It's a violet rose base, but you can use that with 6 developer from Color Touch. So really thinking about, you've got the hair in a high porosity and how to bring it back down.
Great.
Genius, thank you.
Thank
Thanks, Six. Okay, so let's get the fringe in. I think it'd be really cool, I think when something's this short, to take really short fringe, so this actually kind of becomes longer. So that's what I'm going to do with Sophia. I'm just going to get the length cut in the fingers. Now when I work a fringe, I tend to work more parallel to the hairline with it. Hi.
Come on in.
Yeah, come on in, Julia. Oh, hi. Come on in. Cool. You all set? You all good?
Yeah, you get the real behind the scenes.
Yeah, real behind the scenes. We're prepping for a shoot. This is lovely Julia. And amazing turn by Lucas. And we're just going to make it really dark, really rich. And I'm going to just reshape it slightly. And we're going to do a photo shoot, actually, with Robert Lubetta, which I'm really looking forward to, on Sunday. So we've got a lot going on today. So rich, dark, no red left. Nice and rich.
Okay, perfect.
Lovely.
Thank you.
I'll see you in a bit. Yep. We could have done 2. We could have cut her as well. So yeah, Julia actually was cut on, we have a course called the Collection Course, which is amazing. Mark comes in and we have some of our, top clients of the Academy, really amazing hairdressers that come in and want to work off our latest collections. So we do a master class in the evening, and then we do 2 days of hands-on cut and color. So we did Julia, the really lovely lady. We cut hair together and cut Julia's hair. And I find that's how, the thing that's really cool is when you cut hair and you have an idea, but then you work it out with someone else. And maybe this is why I teach, and it just becomes something even more amazing. Never mind the person it's on, but actually sharing hair and having 2 sets of hands, or 3 in this case, because we had Lucas on the perm.
Katie says she always wants to take it, but it's always filled.
It is booked a year in advance, but you know what? This year we've put one in the summer, spring,
oh,
late
Ashley
spring.
wants to know what you're doing with the fringe.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Don't worry. We'll do that. What I'm doing is graduating the fringe, right? So I'm lifting the fringe, lots of tension. Okay. So I just have the edge that can bevel. I want it to bevel onto the skin. I don't want it to stack out from the skin. I'm just going to do a few sections, get the little shape in, and then I'm going to show you the little...
They're asking if we could post the color formula. Yes, we will.
Yeah, Lucas can type it in. Okay, so just parallel sections to the hairline, lots of tension. Don't go too far back now, because you don't. I don't like to cut that away in this case. So I'll work. There's some short bits in there, but I'll work that out. I'll work that out later when the hair's dry. One more section, and we'll do the other side. I have a little peak in the middle because of how I'm working, but I'll work that out. I might leave it. Not sure.
Does he have a toner written on there? I
All of
told
it.
you were going to have to talk.
Yeah, all of it. I think that's all the toner.
Can you tell us what the toner was? What was used to tone?
So the toner is 40 grams, 10-stroke 1/6 kp, plus 10 grams, 9-stroke 1/6 kp, plus 5 grams, 5-stroke 5, plus 5 grams, 9-stroke 7, plus 10 volume.
Thanks.
Thanks, Sal.
I hope that was right.
Sounded good.
Julie Tierce says the cut is beautiful.
For those of you that don't know that we're laughing, it was obviously, not obviously, but I'll let you know that Sassoon is departmentalized. So I know what I want to see in color, but it's another whole nother language to me. And Allison. Okay, so same on the other side. It's best to stand on the same side that you're cutting while you're cutting it so that you don't over-direct too much. I'm going to keep swapping spots with you, Randy. What?
Medium Shirley Cross is worried she's not going to have any hair left. She's actually growing it out.
Yeah, the
This
hair,
is wild.
the hair will be left in all the right places. That's the key. The hair will be left in all the right places.
Okay, I'm going to leave you for a second. I'm going to go over to the color formula.
Go ahead.
There's somebody asking.
Yeah.
Okay, get ready to screen cap, okay?
Yes.
What is the website to enroll for the classes?
Sassoon.com. They can find a schedule of all our courses. Sassoon.com. Or they can call, all our administration for all of North America is out of here in Santa Monica. And there's a lovely girl that looks after booking everybody. Her name is Alana. And you can call her. We can put in contact numbers, right, in the comments. But yeah, online, you can fill out an application online. And the numbers to reach as well. We've just released the schedule right before the holidays for all of North America, for all our academies, which is really exciting. And the last couple of days I've had all the teachers here for what we call teacher training. So even we are dedicated to getting better and better on a regular basis. This academy here, we do a weekly teacher training with all of our team, which is amazing. This academy here, we actually have cosmetology, which I love. There's nothing like teaching just the ones that have never touched hair. And because they're here for 10 months for a cosmetology program, you get to really see them develop. And I love kind of going to a show and having one of our students or ex-students or doing something like this and somebody saying hi, and you know that they're doing so well and they're doing beautiful hair, and it's so satisfying to see that being carried on through students. Sassoon ethos.
Plywood's Engineers says, thank you, Tracy. Elegance.
Okay, so let's see what we have. So I've cut the fringe. It's a slight, what we'd call urte, a little bit longer in the tip. I'll decide if I'm going to leave that when I dry the hair. And I'll have another kind of little panel of fringe left that I'll cut on top of that. So I've cut that down like that, both sides. Then I've brought it back, so it's just layered it slightly. And then the next one will be just cut over it. So there'll be a little disconnection in the fringe, which just gets it to fit the head nicer. So I'm going to just hit it with a little bit of heat and then do my refinement. You can see in the sides the disconnection from the little layer that I created. So classically, if this was cut without the layer, all that hair would look very different. So that's the little corner I took off. And then that's everything that ties onto the line. So it just creates a little space through there, which is great to kind of dress and move the hair around. So it's layered, but it's layered through the rounds of the head instead of through the surface of the hair. Okay? All right, let's just get a little blow dry in here. Nice head sheet, Allison. It's good.
We'll take a look at the head sheet. Want to walk us through?
Sure. So, starting with the back, this is a little diagram key. So we worked with the black section here. That would be like any sections that are major areas that you've sectioned off or a parting. And then the green sections are the sections that you use for cutting. The blue would be your cutting angle or an expanded form of the haircut. And a red arrow is how you direct the hair. A little red dot means that you didn't over-direct the hair. So there was a question earlier where someone asked if Tracy was holding the hair out at a 90-degree angle here. So these were just pulled straight out from the head. This would be the buildup of weight, and all of the sections are directed down to that point. This is the side view that shows the expanded form of Sophia's hair. And the little X's are indicating a scissor over combed area. So after working here with no elevation, taking the hair down to a finger's length, you can't take the hair any shorter than that, so that's when Tracy switched to a scissor over comb technique. Now this one gets a little confusing in here. All of the sections were brought down, kind of Sophia's cheekbone area, just top of the ear. And then the last thing Tracy did was lift the hair up to create a little layer on the underneath, a concave layer to lighten the hair. So that's what that shows. And these are the sections from a bird's eye view. This I'm waiting for Tracy to finish the fringe to do a little diagram of what that looks like.
Thank you.
Alright, so I'm going to just do a quick blow dry so I can really have the time to finish this for you guys. Still just what we call a flat wrap, flat back brush, keeping the hair hugging the skull, using the shape of the skull, almost like a roller, to get the hair to bend and sit and bevel. Constantly moving, not putting any definite parting in. You really want the hair to just have movement and flow. I love hair in motion. So I rarely blow dry it in a set manner, because I like when they tilt their head and you can see, you know, the technique in the hair, you're moving around and things like that. So any other questions? Now's a good time for questions, I think, right?
Common, nice color. What products do you use? Very artistic style. Sophie's an you're an artist, right?
Yeah, Sophie's an illustrator. Okay. Amazing. You're going to do animation, right, Sophia?
I think that's like an interesting thing to talk about, like the suitability aspect of, you know, she's an artist. And
Yeah, I mean, I think when you talk about suitability, there's some classic rules that can but they can all go out the window when you have somebody that can wear something. And hair you know, if it's cut well and it's the right thing on the right person, that's when people take a second look. And, you know, I love doing a haircut on somebody and then I go and look at their Instagram a week later, see what they're doing, and seeing how they're living with their hair. And it always looks better when it's a bit lived in and they're in their environment and wearing their clothes and doing their thing. But absolutely, the person under me is always my inspiration. And, you know, this could be this is a classic haircut. It's just that the lengths that I chose make it look really extreme. That's all. Right? Next time you see her, she'll be there. She's looking like she just came out of the salon.
How short was it before? What's the shortest haircut you had?
Just straight at the sides, just this on the top.
You can see a lot of Sophia's different looks. She's again, one of my regular models and uses. If you look at my Instagram, you can see variations of hair on Sophia and colors.
Yeah, the whole thing was scissor over combs before.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. All right.
Do you have anything to say to people who are afraid to do different things with their hair?
It's just hair. You know, at the end of the day, it all grows back. It all goes back to whatever your natural color is, and you know, it's not gonna
It's
kill
so
you.
important to people though because it's their look. So
Yeah.
I think the girls that I work on, I think
I don't want to run into anybody with their haircut.
so kind of thoughtful of them. I think that's really important. Thoughtful to the wearer.
Yeah.
And you know when you first cut someone, you don't kind of just go for it, do you? You kind of have to figure out who they are. And then usually any changes I do become from them. You know, there's a balance and proportion for a moment in time, I think. But what you actually do really is because of them, for sure. And the more you know someone, some of the girls I've been cutting for years, just like you would a clientele.
Same, it suits her so well.
Yeah. So good on her. All right. That was the quickest project I've
Could you do this with curly hair?
Sure. Yeah, it would be amazing on curly hair as well. The fringe, you know, the lengths have to vary for texture. You know, but that's the wonderful thing. When you have strong technique, your length and texture is your variable. You just keep everything cut really well, understand what technique and the principles of hair are, and then you can do anything on anyone, really, and any one texture. So in curly hair, you imagine you just have this beautiful, what we call thatch shape. And the fringe, if you cut it short enough, cuts the curl out, so you have a really tight, short little fringe. So, yeah. All right, so fringe, I'm going to just work over the head, put some tension on it, and just get this cut in, and then I think we're there. So you sink down a little bit to it. Perfect. So if you're worried about going back too far, you can section. So what I do is like a really curvy triangle. You see that? I sneak in back there. And Sophia's, I'm probably going to have to do a little bit more of it because there's some lengths in there growing out that. But you see how it has a curve to it? Just curves out. So you go wide and deep. Does that make sense? And the tension is the key to this, so that you get just a softer beveled edge. How are we doing for time? We keeping people? We getting people in?
850 people in this room.
What? Unreal. I love this.
900.
I love this day and age.
920.
So amazing.
950.
Sophia, you're drawing a crowd, my love.
975. 988. 1,000.
Yeah. So just working with the hand. I find working with your hand, you can cup the forehead nicer, you know, than when you work this way.
I want you to go live more
Sits
often.
different. I'd love to.
And will you be in Europe
I'm
soon?
always live here, but
Will you be in
come
Europe
see me
soon?
anytime. I will be hopefully in London for our collection launch, which is usually the end of February, beginning of March, at the Sassoon Academy in London, where I get to work with the team there, which is amazing. And my time to kind of learn, and my time to be part of the bigger picture, which is really lovely. So it's just nicer to kind of get it like that. Feels better to me. You really have control of the head now. And hopefully you'll see a nice picture of Sophia as well, I'm sure, because we're going to shoot her on Sunday as well. So it's been a great start to the year. It's been amazing for me to be able to take over American Salon. Thank you, Gordon, for giving me the opportunity, and I hope I did it right for you. And photo shoot, we did teacher training. I mean, what's better than that? Just dive right into the new year. It's with your favorite people, surrounded by your favorite people. Use your mirror just to see. So it just has that really more of a delicate edge than if you just cut it on the skin. How far you go back, that's up to you. You know, a fringe should, I think if you're going to have a fringe like this, it's broad. It goes temple to temple, hairline to hairline.
Where
It
will we be able
opens
to
up the
see
face.
photo shoot?
Yeah, I will.
Share on Instagram.
Yeah, I'll put it up on my Instagram when we know for sure. But like I said, it's
What
it's
length
pretty
are your
special.
scissors?
These are 5s, Karis. These are ones that I've used. I've always go back to. I mean, I've tried loads of different scissors, but I always go back to these. I think it's just the nature. I think scissors are very personal, but the nature of the work that we do and that I do, and I'm so focused on the details. It's such a beautiful tip to kind of do this kind of work because it's refined. But it's not too pointy where you're gonna feel like you're gonna hurt someone, because some of them are too pointy. So it's a really nice, refined, rounded tip. If anybody ever wants to, I tell them to use them. They have to feel good in your hand. It's your tool. It's an extension of your hands. So these are what I use. They're magic scissors. That's why I can cut hair like this. So you want to try to get rid of that kind of stuff so you don't see anything between there and there. Making sure you know where the hairline is. See it right there. Isn't it late in Europe? What time is it?
Oh, yeah.
People are up in the middle of the night like me. That's what I do at night. When everybody in my house is sleeping, I go and I get my laptop and I sit on the couch and I just watch the world. Watch what everybody's doing. It's so amazing that we could do it now, isn't it? And then I just got to do the edge on the sides, and this is our come at the back. So this edge has been done. Let's get in there, Randy. I'll show you. I'm going to refine that a little bit. Sorry, Sophia. Just again that tension on the skin. Just getting underneath it.
It's 10:50 in the morning.
Oh, that's not bad. I was thinking middle of the night stuff. I love how this sits in the corner of the eye. It's just, I mean, love her line that she did on her eye. And just how the bob sits in the corner of the eyes. She's a little jumpy in the hairline. That's why this I'm cutting quite blunt. Because this side grows out. There's always one side, I think, because of the way, most people, because of the way hair grows around. One side comes up and the other side goes down. I mean, that's my theory. But like if you go to scissor over comb Sophia's hair, this side sticks out and the other side lays perfectly flat. And when you know that, you'll do the pokey side first. Do the hard side first.
You're asking again what the make of your scissors are.
What's that?
Your scissors.
Scissors? These are her clips. Microbob scissors. Bias Park combs, caries, water on the hair. I'm just gonna, last thing I'm gonna do, just finish the scissor comb at the back. I think we're there.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, you want to wrap it up?
Yeah. Okay, guys, thank you so much for everybody who's been through this half of the haircut and those who've just joined. Thanks for coming. It was a pleasure to take over the American
The wake
Salon.
Sophia.
What I've done is this little micro bob on the lovely Sophia. So working from the back in the hairline and just horizontal, diagonal, pivoting up to horizontal sections and working through to the front.
Let's get her in the light.
Let's show this side because this side is our comb's done. That's better. How's that?
Yeah.
Have light now
Nice.
too?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm combing it through, you guys can see.
Awesome.
So working through all the way through to the top of the head, very classical. Then taking a section from the high point of the brow back, and you can lift it up and see it straight away, the section. And just taking the hair and layering over the head, layering the edge off. Sorry, I've got to So this is where you would just layer the hair. It's basically from the mastoid forward. Just layer it without taking away the line. So you don't really see the layering, but what it does is create a separation between the hair at the top of the head and the sides. So you get that textural feel without texturizing, which I think for me is really important. If I cut everything bluntly, especially on the finer hair, I prefer to, for this kind of look anyway. Layered look is different. So you can kind of wear it in a dressed manner.
Such a beautiful.
Cute little shape. It's
All
just
right.
enough. It's just a little bonkers, I think. So it's quite classical, but just bonkers enough, which I think, see, she's smiling. It suits her. She's a trivia expert, this one. She's she's like an encyclopedia. She knows everything.
And an artist.
And an artist.
Wow. All right, well, thank you.
Thank
Close
you.
this up.
All right. Thanks, guys. It's always a pleasure to share hair. Thanks, American Salon, for giving me this time and let me take over.